Welcome to the Wedding Leads podcast. Your host is Tracy Morris, award-winning certified wedding planner at her company, You're the Bride. Tracy has over 2 decades of wedding industry experience. She is a mentor, blogger, and influencer, and she shares real stories, tips, and advice with couples who are tying the knot. Tracy's team helps busy, engaged couples maneuver big and small details so that they can enjoy their wedding experience instead of getting lost in the details, which is much like getting lost in the weeds. Enjoy this episode.
Hi, friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Wedding Leads podcast. I am your host, Tracy Morris, and today I have a very special episode lined up just for you, and it's perfect for anyone who is ready to pop the big question. And I think you all know what that big question is. Will you marry me? I'm going to talk today about Detroit engagement proposals since I've planned quite a few in the Metro Detroit area. And if you're hearing this and you need some help, if you're on the fence trying to figure out what do I do, where do I go, I really need some help, then I would love to be your engagement proposal planner. So please hit me up. You may even know somebody, so please pass the word because I do have quite a bit of experience doing this for many grooms in the area. So you want this to be a perfect moment. So I've been helping grooms, like I said, and I'm going to tell you some beautiful stories of them getting in touch with me and a little bit about the process, a little bit about the packages, and just how we get started. So if it's on your mind, I think that you've caught the right episode and you might want to pass this over to another person that is thinking about it. So always like, follow, and share our podcast. We appreciate getting the word out. So our first order of business, what would happen is if this is something that interests you, I would direct you to our website, and that would be yourethebride.com. It's yourethebride.com. So what we would obviously do is we would first have a consultation. It is complimentary. I do it by Zoom because I do want to get to know you, ask you a couple questions about your partner. You know, the questions range anywhere from, first I want to know their name. What is the possible date that you have in mind? Because I got to make sure my schedule is clear. I'm going to also ask you about their favorite color that they have because I want to put something together that is in the right color palette. You know, do they like flowers or don't they? Because some men and women like flowers, some don't. Some have allergies. If there's allergies, then of course we can use silk flowers. That's fine too. Or no flowers at all. There's, other options that I've used for some proposals. I've done balloons. I've done the Chinese paper lanterns. So there's different things that we can do. And once I start chatting with you, that's the reason that we do the consultation. So I can kind of get to know maybe what your vision is, if you have some ideas, and then I can lend some ideas as well. Okay. I also want to know, does your partner have any, favorite things that they like that, because it's about personalization. We want to know, is there something that they really like that we should bring into the space that will, surprise them? Do they have, if you're going to do dinner afterwards, I can help you make that reservation. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about each of the proposals that I did plan, a little bit more about those details. And if you do go to the website, you'll be able to see some photos, on the website of those particular engagements. And I'm going to want to know about, is this a surprise to them? Because some of the engagement proposals actually are not. I've had a couple of the grooms that have contacted me say, they want to have family there, and that's okay. But sometimes it gets to be a little bit much because you've got, family opinions, too many people kind of in the way. But if that's what you want, then that's what we're going to make happen. Some of them are very private, just the boyfriend and girlfriend at that point, fiance, however you want to do it, a partner one, partner two, and just maybe the photographer and obviously myself, because I got to be there and coordinate it. And I do always bring an assistant to help with the setup. So we'll do everything as discreetly and privately as possible. Often some of the proposals will entail, music. If you don't want music, that's fine because, that's an added cost factor. But we're going to go through tons of questions to find out what it is to make it the most special moment for you and your partner. So location, is key. Do you want it to be in a hotel setting? Do you want it to be outside? Are you into nature? A beach, it could be the Riverwalk. It could be a building downtown Detroit, which those could be, expensive to rent something like that. It could just be a park, a restaurant, I think I mentioned. So, the sky's the limit. It could be an Airbnb that we could maybe, rent out and I could come in and decorate. I actually am talking to someone about maybe doing something like that. So lots of options, or maybe just at your home. What time of day? That plays a factor too, because obviously if you want it to be really romantic, we're going to need to do it more in the evening, especially if it's outside, because we want to be able to have the romantic candlelight. And, we also have to be mindful of the photographer, but photographers know what they're doing and they can shoot outside with the right lighting and whatnot. They can accommodate that because they're used to doing that golden hour shot. Usually like for a wedding reception, we take the couple outside. So they're seasoned with that. And don't you worry, I've got a great network of photographers that can help with that. And even if you wanted a videographer there to do something like that, or we could bring a drone in, and really the sky is the limit with the drone, and we could, show the whole area of, the setup of what we're doing. So if you've got the money in your bag, I can make it happen for you. Okay. Music. That's another thing. Do you want music? I could bring in, we've done violinists. That seems to be the most popular. Got a great arsenal of wonderful violinists. Some people want to do a guitar. A saxophone is a really nice option to do. Some are just like, no music. They'll save that for later, at the restaurant or at home. Another one, we did just do something like on a, what do you want to call it? Like an iPod or something. And we just kind of brought like a wireless speaker and we just did something that way because, we put all this planning into it, but then obviously the build up is there and we're waiting and it's so super exciting, but then it does kind of go quickly. So, that particular, those clients, they're like, no, we're not going to put the extra money into it for music. So they just opted for something a little more simple, which is okay. And we just, we charge them for a speaker and then we'll figure out, but we'll still ask them what song is important to her or him. And we'll go ahead and we'll get that music from them, or, we'll find it and we'll play it for them. Candles are very nice, obviously, in the evening hour. That would lend to a more romantic vibe if we can do it in the evening time. If we're going to be outside, if we're inside, that's a little easier because we can draw, the shades or the curtains or whatnot. Do you want champagne? Some couples drink, some couples don't. Is there another drink of choice that you would want us to incorporate and have waiting there? Some couples are like, no, we don't even need champagne. They're fine with just the presentation of the ring, the flowers, the candles, balloons, whatever it may be that we decide on once we have the consultation. That's why it's really important that you give me the time that I need to kind of go through it, because I'm personalizing this event for you and your mate. Don't want to rush through all those details. I need to ask a lot of questions to make it perfect for you. We're also going to ask you, do you want chocolates, anything special, a special treat, that he or she would like? That would be something that we could, bring in for you as well. Some couples have opted for that. Some don't really want the extra. And that's fine too. Like I said, the sky is a limit. We could do whatever you guys want. As far as decor goes, we could even go really large. And I'm sure you've seen those large letters that will say, will you marry me? They light up, so I can rent those as well. But just keep in mind that that's going to add to the expense of the whole experience. It is definitely a wow factor, which is amazing. But, I can't bring those myself because that takes a huge truck. So I do have to source that, which is not a problem. but it will cost extra because we have to have a separate company come out. So that's an additional contract that they have to load those in their vehicle, then bring them, set them up. And then I also need to verify before we get into doing something like that, especially if we're in, an outdoor setting, is there electrical? We can't just have letters and nowhere to plug them in. I don't know. Honestly, this is something I might want to look into. Maybe there is some sort of new lettering where you can just power it on now, battery operated. That would be actually an amazing thing. So I'll have to look into that because that would make things a lot easier. Still have to pay the company to bring them out, of course. And then, it's a short rental, an hour. So they may stick around or they may have to do another drop off, come back and get them. So you still have to pay setup and delivery, unfortunately, but everything adds up. But it's going to be a great experience and it's going to be beautiful. And the pictures will capture the moment and he or she are, they're going to love it. You're going to look back on this moment and just be like, oh my gosh, how amazing was this? And, budget, we know budget is everything. So again, if you don't have a huge budget, it is okay. We can still work with it. But we'll talk about that, privately, what your budget is. Of course, there is, my planning fee and supplies. So we do have to have a certain baseline, but, just to kind of give you a ballpark too, in case, you're out here listening and you're like, well, gosh, how much does this cost? Because I've got to come up with funds for the ring. And then, if I'm going to hire a planner, because, I don't want all this added stress myself, right? You just don't even know where to start. Maybe you've never even planned a party, and this isn't a party, but it's just, you got to still put everything together and make it flawless so you can have your mate have this beautiful experience and for yourself too, right? Because at the end of the day, the mission is for them to say yes. Right? Okay. So to give you an idea, on average, the average proposal, when you pay for services and all the elements that go into it that I just kind of briefly discussed, from the decor, flowers, candles, if you're going to have balloons or whatever we're going to do, is about $2,700. Okay. That does not include the cost of the ring, because everybody has a different budget price point. Some people are okay with a simple ring, and that's fine. Somebody wants a little bit more bling bling. You're going to spend a little bit higher price point. And remember, it's not about the ring. It's about your mate, your partner. So we got to keep that in mind, that you're not getting married because you're getting a beautiful piece of jewelry. You're getting married for your partner because you want to spend the rest of your life with them. So please remember that could be a whole nother episode, right, everybody? Because sometimes people get caught up in this wedding world of weddings, and then they're like, oh my, what's going on here? But that's another episode, maybe for another day. So if you're going to spend that much money, $2,700, and that's just, like I said, a baseline of how much it would cost roughly that you're going to be putting out for music, my services, the dinner, flowers, all that, roughly $3,000. And that's on the base end. Again, if you bring in letters and you want all these fabulous, large, maybe arrangements with more roses and things like that, it's going to grow. It's definitely going to grow. And we can do it. If you're that kind of person, you want to have a major wow factor, then hey, let's go. I can hook you up. I know the right florist, and that is not a problem. But it might be smart to also save some of that money, because keep in mind, you'll be engaged for, maybe 6-7 months, and savor that moment. And then what's next? Then you need to hopefully book me to plan the next party. And that would be your wedding, right? So we need to get planning the ceremony and the wedding. You're going to have a lot of funds to do that next, because that's, booking out your church, your venue, your planner. So that adds up a lot of money too, but we can still make a beautiful proposal. Hey friends, have you ever heard about a Built Bar? Well, I'm about to tell you about the Built Bar. It is a fabulous chocolate treat, and it's actually good for you. These protein bars taste like a candy bar, and they will knock your socks off. If you know me personally, I'm out on social media always talking about the Built Bar. They are the best thing that I have ever discovered. And I discovered them one time on a trip to Arizona, and my friend handed me this Built Bar, and I had never heard of them. So I tried the coconut puff, and oh my God, it's amazing. These Built Bars are low in sugar. I'm talking only about 7 grams, low in calories, about 140 calories a bar, high in protein, which is what you want if you're working out, you're trying to lose weight for, a wedding, maybe, any special event, or just to stay in shape, right? Because we all could use a little bit of weight loss in our life, trying to fit into those pants. 15 to 17 grams of protein. The flavors are amazing. Cookies and cream, cookie dough. We've got brownie batter, mint chip. Aren't you salivating? Yes, you are. Chocolate milkshake. Hello. Everybody's on the salted caramel train. They've got churro, mint puff. I mean, the list just goes on and on. But also, these have collagen in them, which is good for skin when you're getting a little bit older. But you guys got to check these out. I do have a special discount code you're going to be putting in at the checkout. YTB, of course, for You're the Bride, Built, BUILT. It's all together, YTB Built, and you'll get 10% off your purchase. I'll go ahead and put this in the show notes, but I really hope that you'll try these, because once you do, you will be hooked just like me. Got to try it. Got to love it. They're amazing. Okay. So the next thing is basically the men that have came to me. I'm going to first chat about, and the names, they're on my website, so we don't really have to disclose names in the episode, but their names are out, and I have permission, and they're amazing testimonials that they've given me for working together are on the website, so you can read a little bit more about them. But, a couple of them came to me and, they told me they wanted romance. They just wanted to have joy and relief, somebody professional that knew what the heck they were doing, guiding them, because they didn't know what to do exactly. I mean, they probably had a little idea, but they're like, I don't know. I work a lot. Just like everybody else, you pay for a service because you want it done right the first time. You don't want to make mistakes. You don't want to second guess yourself, and you want to enjoy the moment too, right? And you want to have somebody kind of in charge to just figure it out. You're okay with paying the money and just having it done the right way, right? So that's why most of these people choose this service, as anybody would for, you're going to get your car detailed, you have a personal shopper, you need somebody to watch your kids. Everybody has to pay to have a service done. So it's no different than hiring an engagement proposal, a wedding planner, somebody to groom your dog. We all got to pay for things if we want a great service. And that's what I do provide. Okay. So basically the next thing, I had another groom and he just wanted a seamless planning process. He's like, I have the ring, Tracy, but I just need some help creating and arranging this dreamy proposal. He just did not know what to do from there. And, that's speaking my language. That's exactly what I love. So I was like, all right, let's go. Okay. So the first proposal I am going to talk about took place on Belle Isle, and you'll see pictures on my website. It was a gorgeous setting. He came to me and he was actually quite creative. I remember this young man. He had gathered up tons of photos from his previous couple of years with his girlfriend, and he was so darn cute. Hopefully he'll hear this. I don't know if he follows the Wedding Weeds podcast, but he should. But he made like this collage, and you'll see in the pictures, it was just so heartwarming that he took the time to grab all these pictures and put them on poster board. And, I could tell, like, when I went and picked it up, he just put his heart and soul into the relationship. And it was so cute. So you men out there, or even the ladies, if this is something you want to do, I think you should just do it and really personalize the event. So he did that. So we went out to Belle Isle. We got a lot of rose petals. My nephew, who I've mentioned, I think in my previous, the last episode when we talked about musical influences. Marco, my nephew, he has been my helper on the side for a couple of years. I like to get him involved, and he enjoys it. He's actually helped me with several proposals, but he was out there and he helped me put all the petals down on the ground into a heart shape, and so that was his work. And then we, put candles down, and yeah, it was a beautiful setting. So that particular bride to be, she didn't have a clue about it. As far as I know, she didn't know. But we blindfolded her and brought her out, and I had a balloon. And then that moment happened. And once they, went ahead and, she said yes, of course. Then, actually prior to that, I had a dinner reservation for them that, we previously discussed over at the Andiamo on the riverfront. And I had an arrangement and, made the table look really special with candles and whatnot that you'll see in the photos. And then they went to dinner. So yeah, that was a nice one. He actually just contacted me. I believe they have a child now, and we were going to do he needed some help with the party, but I believe the timing or something didn't work out. I think I was already booked, but yeah. So it sounds like he's doing great. Another proposal that I did was in Ann Arbor at the Kensington Hotel. That one was really special too. That couple, she really enjoyed outdoor plants. So that was really key. He wanted a venue that had a lot of plants, something outdoors. And I had just done a wedding there, maybe less than a month prior, before he contacted me. I'm like, oh my God, this is fate. This is the perfect spot. So I had pictures and I sent it to him. Like, this is the spot. I think that she'll love this. And he's like, yes, let's book it. So got that spot in Ann Arbor, which wasn't too far from where they live, like 20 minutes, and set that up. Also arranged a dinner with the hotel. Now, their proposal was in October. So October in Michigan could be hot, could be cold. On that day, it was a little chilly, so I had to do a plan A and a plan B. A good planner has to have that. So we arranged for dinner inside as well, but we did start outside. You'll see their photos. They have like lavender, purplish color set up. And she had no clue. She just thought that they were going to this hotel for dinner because that's something that they do as a couple. They like to go, I think it was a Sunday. I don't even think it was a Saturday. I'm trying to remember, but yeah. Oh my gosh, that was a good one too. And Marco helped me with that one. And yeah, Marco's a tall, I shouldn't say child because he's about to be 21 in a couple days, but so he did a lot of the hanging of you'll see the paper lanterns in this one. It was beautiful. So he did a lot of the hanging. That's why I like keeping him around, because he's got some good height on him, that boy. But anyhow, so we hid and watched that all take place. And it was so beautiful. Yep. And of course, she said yes. Of course, how could she not? Nice, handsome man. So that was beautiful. And our photographer kind of hid in the bushes and then came out and, we did the whole proposal. So it was great. And then they did try to do their meal outside, but it was a little chilly. So yeah, she wanted to go inside. So not a problem. We already did have some stuff set up inside for them. And then we moved it inside. I don't think I included the inside pictures just because the outside was like the main attraction, but they enjoyed a private meal inside as well. And then our third couple was also actually that one was pretty cool because it was he wanted to do a New Year's Day proposal, which I thought was even, extra special. Who doesn't want to get engaged around the holiday? That was kind of fun, showing that bling off at the at the Christmas and New Year's Day functions, right? So anyhow, that one we had access to the his suite at the Townsend Hotel in Birmingham. He did the dinner arrangement. He kind of already had that set up, and I worked with the florist, met them there. He left some stuff ahead of time that we coordinated at the front desk. He too was very romantic, and he had retrieved some pictures of them. I believe that he already had at his house, or maybe he went and made copies from, I don't know how he got them, but he put them all in frames and left them for me. And then I got them and decorated the room. So you'll see in the photos that we put some nice pictures of the couple around the room. There was a number that was very special to them. And as you'll see in the photos, now off the top of my head, I'm not remembering the number, but I made the arrangement to get that particular number for their room number at the hotel, as well as I had to, Marco, he was with me on that one too. He went ahead, I think it was like 2:42 or something. It was the time that they met. That's why it was symbolic. So remember I said during the consultation, I'm going to ask certain things. We want to make it personal. And he told me, I think he called her on the phone and it happened to be a wrong number or something. And that was the time that they met or something to that effect. So and that number was always important to them. So I'm like, well, we're going to put that number on the bed. We're going to make sure you get that suite at the Townsend. So it all came together. It was awesome. So yeah, they love that. So then in the photos, you'll also see that Marco worked his magic with the roses, but we actually had full stem roses on that one and we did the heart. So we wanted to do a little bit different. We also did some balloons that we brought in. And then he also did his own, he read off some cards and I believe gave her reasons, he loved her, wanted to marry her, really personalized it. So I had those waiting on like a tray for him, I believe. And I think we had some like chocolates or strawberries or something. So yeah, I mean, it was so fun. Like, oh, gosh, it was so fun. We can just do whatever you guys want. I can give you, even more ideas than that, but just to give you an idea, that's what we did. We had a violinist at that one. So we did have live music, which was beautiful. We also incorporated some of her favorite songs. I feel like that one had an Anita Baker song, which I love Anita Baker. So that was really special. Yeah. And that was great. So again, there's just so much we can do. Now, personal touches, I think, is what really can elevate the experience. But, if you need help with, you don't even have the ring yet and you're like, gosh, where do I even go? Probably could do a whole episode on how to pick out a ring. There's the 4 C's. We could get into that another time. But if you need a jewelry partner, I could refer you to someone. So if you go to the website, there's like a list of, what's included in the services along with my fee. We do charge you upfront for the prepaid decor, which covers like some like supplies. So that's going to get you basic expenses or basic supplies. So that's going to cover like, some rose petals, roses, candles, things I can purchase off Amazon. And anything that I don't spend, it is a $250 supplies expense fee, then I will, return to you. I will itemize and give you receipts back and whatnot. If I happen to go over it, by $5, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to nickel and dime you, of course. However, if for some reason you're like, I need this or I want that, and we're starting to get over, then I'm probably going to, say, hey, I can either, keep going, or I'll ask you for like a credit card or something at that point to take care of the difference. Okay. Because when we start getting into those letters that I was mentioning, the alpha lit letters or whatever, those can cost a lot more. So then we're going to have to up the ante on the cost of the whole service. Okay. But yeah, I love planning these. It's so much fun. So, if you're ready to create a magical moment like this, I really encourage you to check out my services. I would love to schedule a complimentary consultation, by visiting my website. I do have a Calendly link on there, and I can put together something that you and your partner will remember forever. So that would be, my wish to work with you, and hopefully we can partner on that. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up today's episode of the Wedding Weeds podcast. If you have enjoyed this podcast, I would ask you guys to subscribe, like, and follow. And also, I would love if you would leave a review on whatever platform you are listening on. That would be great. But yeah, also, if you are enjoying my new endeavor, I do have some links and whatnot that I will include in the show notes, so you can kind of take away some of the key takeaways of the episode. Some people like to kind of go back over things, so I'll have some links in there. Also, we have a link in there too if you're interested in, and if you're not interested in a monthly donation, or it would just buy me a simple cup of coffee. There's some different price points. And what that is the money would be used to help fund the Wedding Weeds podcast to keep it going. Because, I do have to pay an editor. I also have to pay for my monthly subscription to Buzzsprout, which is like the platform to keep this going. So of course there's expenses to keep a podcast going behind the scenes. But what I'm going to do is I do want to continue growing the podcast, and I would like to eventually monetize and start working with brands, because I am a brand influencer. So I have started reaching out to some brands, trying to get some more partnerships. But now that I think a podcast is honestly the way to go. So I think if I can be consistent and keep it going, I think I can level up and really do well at this, because I really enjoy it. And I am going to be bringing some more fresh content, new episodes. I do have some really amazing guests coming up, so we'll be back on the podcast soon. The ones that I have guests on, just so you know, those ones, just like my one last month with Mr. Kelf Franklin. If you guys missed that, you should really go and check it out. You can listen to the audio version, but it's also on my YouTube page, and I'll give you the handle so you can find it. So you might want to follow that one as well. But anytime I have a guest on, I'm going to go ahead and put that video version on my YouTube, and that's going to be, the handle is at Detroit Wedding Planner altogether. So yeah, I've got a couple shows in the works. It's just a matter of getting people scheduled and, time, because everybody's so busy in the wedding industry. But if you can just be patient, I'm going to try to, like I said, I want to do 2 episodes a month. It hasn't worked that way yet, but we're going to get there. I'm going to find the right rhythm to do it with everything else I got going on. On another note, if you would like to send, we have an option. It's called fan mail. So that's something you can do as well. And I will go ahead and put that in the show notes as well. If you're enjoying it, or if you have a topic idea, there's a way that you can actually text it to us. So that will be in there as well. And I would love feedback or review. And yeah, that's everything. So again, I'm Tracy Morris. Thanks again. Signing off for the Wedding Weeds podcast. Bye for now.